Hold up. Did I just do an intro? Man, this YouTube thing is getting crazy. So anyways, we on episode 5 already. And we still didn't get this car on the road. We're gonna try on this one. This episode we will be doing steering. So let's get to it. On this one we have the original power steering unit. So it works for a cylinder and you have a control valve out there. Everything is super nasty, so they probably never touched it. My experience with these ones is that these always fail. They always leak. On my 64, I think I already changed it like 2 or 3 times and rebuilt them, but they always keep leaking a little. This one was really peeing, so it needs a rebuild. So I'm gonna do the right thing and rebuild everything. So I bought a kit to rebuild the cylinder too. I got new hoses. Even these hoses I got them new because these ones are all rotted out and dried up. So we're gonna give it a whole rebuild on the power steering just to make sure it's all good. So yeah, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna start by cleaning up. I already cleaned up a little over there. And I'll start loosening everything up and we'll tear everything down to rebuild it. Power steerings are always a big debate. On this one, on the 63, I have a 605 power steering. Basically, the difference is that you don't have the whole control valve and all the lines and cylinder and all that. So here basically you just have the power steering pump, which goes to the steering box, and the assistance happens in here. The only thing for these cars, you need to run a adapter plate like on this one, but you do have new units now that bolt up to the frame immediately, and the difference is then that you need a center link of a manual car, and there you see how it hooks up on the center link. So that's the difference. This one isn't a power steering center link because the power steering center links are shorter, so you need a manual before you can do a 605 conversion, and then you eliminate the whole control valve and all the lines and all the stuff that leaks. So this is actually a lot better, but right now I'm just gonna run the stock one and rebuild that one. Maybe later on I will change it to a 605 or a CPP or something like that. So yeah, that's a little info on the power steering. This is the original complicated setup, but that's what we're working with right now, so let's do it. These are not the fun jobs. So I got the cylinder off, which was a trick because we have this other bolt right here, and I have this tool that is very practical to get this off, but don't have a lot of space, like you can tell. So it was tricky to get it in between because the cylinder was right here, so you don't have a lot of space, but it came out. I had to cut a line because I can't get it off. That one, I will figure that one out once the whole piece is off. And here basically I got the same issue. I can't use my tool because I have the sway bar in the way. So yeah, it gets tricky like that. Plus I already noticed I'm gonna need to order all these rubber parts that come in here, and that will be for next time. Meanwhile, my dad already cleaned up the cylinder. I'll show you in a bit. This one is all cleaned up already. And we took all that apart and put new sealings in it. So this one is basically ready for paint. You just have to degrease it well, and I'll give it a coat of paint and we can mount it again. These are all the little parts, but like I was saying, I'll need to order these ones because they're very hard and old. Alright, after some struggling, we got the valve off. So basically I got no steering right now. And I found out I'm missing a few parts I didn't order, so I'm gonna be stuck for another week or two. I'll just have to leave it as is, clean up, and we'll continue later on. Alright fellas, so we took the power control valve home, and my dad did a good job cleaning it and disassembling it. So this is pretty much what we got going on. It's some 1950s, 1960s engineering right here, and it's well thought through, but it seems complicated for a lot of people, so I wanted to explain this a little. Basically, this would be where your pitman arm comes from the steering box, and here it will have these pieces right here where it holds the ball in place. We can see some wear here a little, and this will be all greased up. This goes inside of this, but before it goes inside of this. So basically this goes inside of here, and when you turn your wheel and your pitman arm goes a sideways movement, it will basically make this all move, and that will actuate the control valve, which is this here, which will control the oil flow to one or the other end of the cylinder. So it's a little complicated, but it pretty much explains itself once you really think it through. This axle right here goes all the way through it, and it will have through this cap actually some sort of regulation where you have to find the center point actually of your steering wheel. Otherwise, when you turn the car on and you have it lifted in the air, the steering wheel will turn by itself. So when you install this, always make sure that you regulate it before using the car. And these are the major seals that keep the oil from leaking. There's one here, and one here. And this part right here goes inside of this one. That's why this O-ring is here. And there's a spring inside of here too. So all this assembled goes into this. And this is where you get the pressure side, the return, and this will go to your cylinders to one or the other direction. And that's basically it. This controls, by turning the wheel, it will control whether the oil goes into one side of the cylinder or the other one, and that's how it helps you assist, the power steering. That's what the whole power steering is about. So yeah, it's a little complicated, but basically if you follow the instructions, and if nobody dismounted it before you, you can just put it back together like you took it apart, because these plans that come with it are not always that clear. So watch out with that, because they have some slight differences. Like in this plan you have a ceiling right there, which we don't have. So watch out with that, but it will work. This one has some wear here, but normally this little spring right here will take care of that little wear. So we're gonna mount it now, grease it up, everything nicely, put some oil on it just to mount it, and we'll see what it do. We mounted this part already. One of the cylinders that goes in here that holds this ball is already in it with the axle, and then you just screw it on. You just have to watch out, because here there's a little line right there. Trying to show it right there. This has to align right, because when you want to put this one in, which will lock it in place, there you see it went all in. So that's where you want it to be. If this doesn't align, then you won't be able to mount this one. Also, don't go too wild on this one, because if you tighten it too much, you're basically compressing the spring that is pushing on this ball, and then this ball won't be able to move right. So now basically we see what the control valve will do. When you turn one side or the other, it will go, you see how it goes up and down, and that's what will make the other part move, which will send the fluid one or the other side. The next step, you put the middle plate, which will be this one, and you already mount this part with here new seal and there new seal, and then you can basically mount the upper part. The other part of the cylinder or the valve, better to mount it this way, because in the past I've mounted through this, but basically what you do is you damage the upper seal. So it's better to mount it this way, and then you mount the other valve through here, which will be this side, and that will be basically it. I forgot to mention the spring earlier. So this would be how it goes. Then this one slides in, and that will be the last one to go in, because this little spring here goes inside of there, and the O-ring, that one, will sit in there too. So just put some oil on it and mount it up without forcing too much. So we mounted the upper part. Just have to lube everything in with transmission oil so everything slides in. There's a little washer in here that you have to center right. Don't force it. Once everything slides in, it's good to go. Now the last one to go is this little nut here, and this is what will this is the adjustment I was talking about earlier. This is what will make the car center the pressure so it doesn't pull left or right. So what I did, or my dad did, before taking it off, he measured how many millimeters this little rod had. So we're gonna mount it back like it was, and that will be a good starting point to adjust it. Once the car is in the air, we will start it up and it will build pressure, and we will see if the steering wheel pulls or not. This will be it. Just keep in mind that this one right here is a little flatter than the new one that came in the kit. So we basically did some mathematics, and it should be this. Yep, that should be it. So this is a good starting point. Once he's on the car, we will see if that's what we need and if the steering wheel doesn't pull. So that's basically it. This one is rebuilt. There is another kit that is coming in. I don't have it yet. That will come over this part. There's like a big rubber and a metal plate that will keep the grease in. You can see it right here. This is the only part I'm missing. I ordered it, so it should be coming in. So once that is in, then the whole valve is complete and ready to go on the car. We marked here with a couple of points and a line. We marked the center part of the ball, because what happens is when you mount this on the car, it's basically by turning it on the steering linkage. So if you would turn it too much, this part wouldn't be centered, because once the rubber goes over it, you won't see it if you are centered or not. And that's why it already had, I don't know if you can see it, you see how it already had some marks from touching on this border? That's because it wasn't mounted right. So now we mark these little points here just so we can know where the center part is. So then when we mount it, we will know how to center it correctly. And once we have it centered, then we put the bolt through it that goes here, and it should be good. While thousands of people are breaking Brussels and protesting for the damn virus, a brother just eased his way to the shop today. It's a Sunday, so I'm not gonna do too much today, but when I ordered the parts I was missing for the power steering, I went ahead and bought these new, this one new, and this one new. So we're just gonna change it all, put it all brand new. So the only thing I gotta do is take it all apart now. And this centerpiece here, I'll clean it up and paint it. I bought a new pitman arm too. So everything's gonna be fresh basically. I'm gonna go ahead and change these two while I'm at it. but the rest of the suspension I will just leave it for now. So yeah, I'm waiting on the parts to come in. It should be tomorrow or maybe Tuesday, but I'm already gonna start prepping this and maybe already changing the power steering lines and just working a little ahead. So that's basically it. But yeah, I just went with fresh stuff because to take these ones apart, I don't know what's gonna happen. So just get it new and be over with it. These ball joint crackers 3000s is one of the most useful tools you can get. Because back in the day I used to hammer the shit out of these to get them apart. But since I bought this is really the best you can get. And it comes in a set with like different sizes. So it really works well. I just noticed I can't use it on this one. Probably need a puller for that, but I'm just gonna take it apart here and I'll figure it out. Probably on the bench or something, I'll see what I do. But other than that, it came all apart. This one was a little harder, but what you gotta do is you gotta tap it with the hammer so you don't overload on this, because believe it or not, these can crack. So it can get dangerous if you put too much strength on it. So yeah, you just tighten it up and hit it with the hammer a couple of times and it will snap. So that's good. Came apart. Well, I'm pretty surprised. I just hit it with the hammer twice with my ball joint breaker 4000 and it came apart. So that's good. I'll just WD-40 these ones up and take that one off too, and then I'll just wait till the new parts come in. In the meanwhile, I will clean this one up and paint it, and at least it will be clean again. Alright, the pitman arm is off, but I noticed to get this bolt out, I have to take the bumper bracket off. So I'm just gonna leave it there and pretend I didn't see that, and I'll see if I get new bolts with the new pitman arm. Then I'll go through the headache of taking this off and taking the bolt off. But if I don't get new bolts and I just gotta use the old ones, then why bother taking it out? So the whole steering is out now. I'm gonna start cleaning up the parts and painting in them. This one I will paint it on the car because I don't want to take it off. And the sway bar, I'm gonna leave it on right now. When I'll do the whole suspension, maybe I'll take it off because I can't find the right bushings for here. They always sell the other type, like a longer type, and this one's gotta be round. So gotta try to find them. If I find them, I can take the sway bar off, paint it, and then I'll just put new ones. These ones I did order them, so I'll keep looking for those and see what happens. All right, got them both cleaned up and sanded, ready for paint. Came out pretty good. Took all the rust off too. Just to make sure, I'm gonna go the same way as the other parts. Gonna put a rust converter on that 2-in-1 stuff, and then I'll hit it with some black and it will be clean enough. While the paint is drying, I'm gonna go ahead and take these hoses off of the power steering pump. I have new ones too for these, so I'm gonna take them off already, and maybe I even put the new ones already, so at least we don't waste time. I took it all apart from these brackets it got going on over here. Probably don't see. Oh, okay. So there was a bracket over there and it goes through there, so I already did that. So I just got to take it off the pump now, and then we can put the new ones.
like I said in the previous video, it's always important to keep these plugs, because basically you can put them over everything, and in this case I put the plugs on to pass the line through where it has to go, and that way I don't get any dirt going inside, because there's always some junk somewhere. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna install the pressure side first, because the return side has to be cut on size. So I'm gonna pass this one, then I'll pass the return, I'll cut it on the right size, because basically they go right next to each other, so that should work. So let's do that.
Went ahead and put a coat of black on it. Looks pretty good. Gonna let it dry for the night. And then it's ready to be mounted. Maybe I'll put another coat on it. I'll check. All right. We got the new components in. So I was painting all this stuff. So this came out clean. Got the new bushings for it. The new rubber that goes over here. This one is fully rebuilt. I got the missing piece, that was this one with the rubber, so that one's good to go too. And then we ordered all fresh stuff, that good made in USA stuff, none of that China shit, you know. So I went ahead and bought these sleeves also off eBay, because I couldn't find them on Rock Auto. So I did that because I don't want to take the other ones apart, because it's always a struggle. They rusted and everything. So just went ahead and bought new ones. Like you can tell, I painted the Moog parts too. This is how they came. I painted them black. That way they're protected and it looks better. I'm gonna go ahead and paint these ones too. I got the second one over here. And then I can start assembling everything. Then I'll just measure the distance from the other arms, and that way the wheels are already a little bit straight. I'll get an alignment done afterwards. But yeah, we're making some progress here, and it's gonna look good. Out here, back again on the 64. It's so damn cold in here. It's even colder than last time. Oh, it's crazy. So anyways, what I'm mainly gonna do is change these ones now that I have nice access to them, and then I will start mounting the new parts. I will clean up a little before doing that, and then we should have steering again. These can get tricky to take off. Basically I just hit it with the impact first to get the top nut off, and then the problem is these ones, they rust on the bolt, so then you can pull the bolt out. What I did is I just opened it, you know, I hammer it, I hold a wrench on it on the lower side, because when you're gonna hammer it, it's gonna start turning on it. So I just hold a wrench on here, and then I'll just hit it with the hammer to bust it open, and once it's open a little, it will start to loosen itself, and then you can just knock it out with the hammer normally. There you go, it's out. So gonna do the same on this side. So you can tell the line is probably on the, oh, it's over there somewhere, full of gunk. So yeah, I'm gonna do the same on that side, and then I'm gonna change them for the new ones. Then I'm gonna start mounting the steering parts. One side done. Just always when you change these, check if you have the right one. Like you can see, it's the right one. It might get tricky to install it because the rubbers are new, but I use this type of vice grip I have laying around. You just stick it through, and then you can just push it up a little, and then you'll be able to put the nut on. What I did, I greased this tube on the inside because I don't want it to rust or get stuck like on this old one. So just a little preventive, because I know I will be taking it apart again when I'm gonna do the A-arms and all the bushings in here. So
just to make sure I did that. Alright, so we got both sway bar linkages in, and I already mounted this part of the steering, the pitman arm. Now what I'm gonna do is, let me hang this real quick. Yeah, whatever. Now what we're gonna do is, these old steering arms, I marked them left and right, passenger side, driver's side. What I'm gonna do is measure from here, or probably from this nipple till the center of that one. That way I have like a like an alignment, I would say. Not perfect, but like it was, and that will be a nice part to start. So afterwards I'll get an alignment done, but at least I'll be in the ballpark of where it was. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna measure these two, the old ones, and transfer it to the new ones that are over here. I already got them almost at a good distance, so I'll just do that, and then I can start installing everything up along with the center piece. That's where the pitman arm goes over here. Here goes the steering valve, which is this one, and here goes the other arm that goes to the steering box. And then yeah, the cylinder will go from here to the frame. So that's basically it. Almost there. Steering linkages are in, and I think the alignment is pretty okay because everything went in smoothly, and I didn't turn the wheels or anything while I was working on it, so it should be right where it was. Probably will need a little adjustment, but I'll go to the tire shop for that. So the important thing is now what I mentioned earlier when we was rebuilding the power steering control valve. Remember, we put some lines in it and some dots. This is where it gets important. Before tightening everything down, we have to make sure that, you have to make sure that this piece is centered, because you know you can turn it both ways. But if it ain't centered right, what will happen is that it will be rubbing on the metal here in the inside, and you will have wear on the ball joint actually. So that's why I marked it, because once the rubber is on, you can't see the middle point. That's why we marked it. And now we gotta see, I'll probably drop the car for that, to see that it's nice and straight, this one, and then we will tighten this one down and it won't move anymore. So that's basically what we're looking for. This is always a close call on these ones. And a lot of people, when they wrap the frames, when they make lowriders from these models, they weld plates on here and it will rub. Like on my 63, I will show you guys. You can see it right there. When you turn, it will be rubbing because it has a thick plate on it. So yeah, it gets tight in here once you have the frame wrap going on, like on the 63. But we shouldn't be having that issue on the 64. It should be right. So yeah, I'm gonna tighten everything down now because I didn't yet. And then I'm gonna regulate that one, and then the power cylinder can go on. And then yeah, we'll have to work on all the lines and all that stuff. But it's looking pretty neat. All right, so we tightened everything down. We greased up all the ball joints, all the tie rods. Here we started putting the hydraulic hoses. This one, like I was saying, I centered it nicely, so when it turns, it has some game in it, you know, that it doesn't tear up the ball inside. So it's coming out pretty good. These ones get a little tricky to do. So what I did, I have this brake key that I modified just so it can go in there, because it's really tight in there, you know. But this works out. Sometimes you have to invent some tools. But I already had it because I already worked on these things before. So I had to change the lines because I didn't pass them rightly. This one I didn't hook it up yet because I have to cut it. But I'm gonna put a sleeve on it like on this one. But I don't have the sleeve in yet. So once I have that, I'll slide the sleeve in and I'll put it on the pump. Now I'm gonna move on to installing the cylinder and the two lines that go to the control valve. And then we can put some oil in it and see if we got leaks or anything. And oh no, my bad, I still have to hook this one up. But okay, we're getting there. So there you have it. Everything mounted up. This one here, they got tricky because you don't have a lot of space. So I had to make another custom key, this one. Otherwise I couldn't fit it in between there. So it worked out. I don't know if it's leak free yet because I don't put any oil in it yet. So steering check. When I went to install the belt, I noticed the alternator was really nasty. I started cleaning it up on the outside, but all these parts were plugged with nastiness. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take it apart and clean it up. But it's really nasty. I never seen an alternator in this nastiness shape before. And it has wear, and this piece is cracked. So I wanted to rebuild it, but in the end, all these little parts, you can't find them all, and you run into complications, and it gets expensive. So I just went ahead and bought a new one. And this is a 37 amp, and on Rock Auto they had the 60 amp, so I took the biggest one I could get. That means it's an upgrade too. And we will just take this double pulley out of it and install it on the new one. And then we should have a new alternator. So that means this is the end of episode 5. I really wanted to roll the car in this episode, and I've been promising it, but we didn't make it. We had a little setback again. But this is how car building goes. All that stuff you see on TV is fake. In real life, we have a lot of setbacks when building these cars, and it just takes time, so we just gotta work with it. Next video, I really hope that we do make it and we take this car on the road. It will be cold, it will be real cold, and we will drive with the top down because I ain't got no top. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I've been getting a lot of messages, I really appreciate it. So I will keep doing this YouTube thing. This is really new to me, I'm not used to it, but I really like doing this, although it takes a lot of time, I gotta admit that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Next episode will be on again, and we will be doing more content. So like, subscribe, share, do what you gotta do, and I'll see you next time.